So we didn't know they had a speed limit. So we're just running 70 in this big chop, just airing out the aggressors, passing all these like $1 million center consoles and stuff. Everyone's probably like, who in the hell are these dicks? Like,
that's what I felt like coming up here or going up north. I was like, man, I feel like I'm bringing a tin boat to this, you know, catamarans and $1 million boats. Like, I feel like I'm bringing just some shit box. Like,
hey guys, can I join too?
like,
there was quite a few aggressors and rockets that I didn't know were going to be there. Like, I thought there was only going to be 1 or 2 of them, you know, and then us.
Yeah.
But there's a handful of them.
yeah, I was really impressed with like just the overall brand showing that we had.
Absolutely.
I've seen somewhere, maybe Ryan told me, like this is the biggest like sensation, or like this is the most sensations anyone's ever seen at Boyne or something like that. Or
There was a lot of 288s and 32s.
there was probably 1032 Dominators there.
Yeah.
I mean, wait, there was 3 or 4 of them in the run, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was a handful of them just cruising around though, I've seen.
For Sensation presence at the event, we'll start with the smallest and work our way up to the biggest. So you obviously had the 2 aggressors that were unofficial participants of the event with the guys from the factory who joined. But probably one of the cooler things I saw from a headline standpoint for that event was the smallest boat officially registered for the event was a 24 rocket, I think in 1988 or something like that. I saw Tyler out there, he was solo. You know he's dedicated if he's doing Boyne Thunder in a 24 rocket by himself. It was pretty cool to see that. Again, that's a different style of boating, and to get yourself in the mix with those big cats and those big Apaches and the big center consoles and go out there on Lake Michigan and run around. Dedication, to say the least. So we saw the 24 rocket there, Tyler's. I can't say that I remember seeing many 288s, but I do think there was one up there. A handful of 32 Dominators, both in the run and not just there for the weekend, not in the run. You know, you had a Tom Beagle with his 36 XRT, the gray and blue one. That thing is gorgeous. You had Steve Dungy in his red F4. First time I've ever seen an F4 running wide open like that. It gave me chills. Can't believe it came out of this factory. It's an amazing machine that those guys built. And then from the center console side, you had a handful of 32 CCXs, anywhere from boats with 300Rs to 400s, new 400R V10s and 450s. Nick Wolgass was there on his 34 CCX. Him and his crew are a staple to that event. They've been doing it every year and they will continue to. Troy Spence was there on his 40 CCX, that was awesome. Dave Schatzberg on his 34 CCX, he trailered up from our area. So I would say overall, I mean, when you have 120 boats, you can assume you'll miss a couple here and there. But I do give credit to all the Sensation owners, Sunsation Nation, who showed up for that event. And we just got to do it bigger next year and have more fun with this community.
I had myself, Marla, John, and Keith. And that was Keith's first time being in a poker run. So he was just grinning from ear to ear. He's like, wow, man, this is cool as hell. So that was like cool to experience, like somebody's first time.
My first poker run was life-changing, really. I mean, all those boats, the people, the water, being able to get out of the shop for a little bit and get up there and just go tear it up with some of the, you know, bigger catamarans and DVs, stuff like that.
It's just really cool showing someone a different side of boating.
Oh yeah.
Like compared to how our 32s run now and how these run, and just they're completely opposite.
Just being in like the whole poker run world is just like a completely different style of boating than like going out to the bay for the day
Yeah,
type
absolutely.
thing.
I'm about it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So the whole event kicks off on Thursday morning with the Unreal Performance lunch run. You start, all the boats meet in Round Lake and they kind of mill around for a minute. They go through the channel out to Lake Michigan and they run together up to Bay Harbor. So it's always fun. We tried to be the first boat out there because we're the smallest boat with not the biggest power. So we knew that, you know, Burton and his cat and the 390Xs and the big boats were going to rip by us, and that's always a fun show. So we wanted to get out in front so we could see them go by. And then, you know, once you're just pulling into Bay Harbor, one of the most beautiful places in the country by far for boating. The water is so clear, and, you know, Jeff at Unreal Performance gave Sensation front and center attention. You know, pulled our 32 demo right up into the front well so that every person who was at the event walking around and all the spectators could see that boat. So it was cool to be able to engage with customers, kind of talk to some of the guys running the bigger boats, show them the 32, show them what it's capable of. And really there wasn't that many center consoles there, so we were one of a few that actually did that part of the run. So yeah, shout out to Jeff Reel and Unreal Performance for a great event. It's always a fun way to start the weekend. After we do the lunch run with Unreal, Thursday night at Boyne Mountain is the welcome party, and that is put on by American Custom Marine. They are a massive supporter of Boyne Thunder. They get a ton of boats and their customers to show up for that event, and the welcome party is always fun because it kind of takes you away from the water a little bit, puts you at Boyne Mountain, which most people don't go there in the summertime, usually only when there's snow on the ground. And it's just a fun venue for an event like that. Very laid back, you know, great food, great entertainment, you know, great mixture of people, whether it's, you know, boat owners, their crew, media, manufacturers, vendors, everybody hits that event up. And you get to explore the mountain. You can, you know, it's a family friendly area, so you can go up the mountain, you can check out the views, you can have a good time. So shout out to American Custom for another great welcome party and overall a great event. And we want to see that event continue to gain traction and continue to drive people from all over the country to visit Boyne in that area.
Got the boys from the other house, Sunsation House, coming down to help shortly though. Yeah, they're gonna come down here and help set up. Wait for these docks here to get put up, and we'll put all our banners up on them. And then pretty much be able to chill until 6 when it starts. What time is it? 4. Oh man. We'll be able to chill for a while, and then the chaos will begin.
For Sunsation, the real goal of the street party, again, is just eyes on the boat, brand awareness. There's a lot of people that stroll the streets during that event. A lot of them are not familiar with performance boating and especially not familiar with Sunsation. So it's cool to always tell people and remind them that we're a Michigan manufacturer. You know, that's our backyard, that's where we like to vacation to. And then to be supported by Unreal Marina and have them be right next to us in the street party, it was just an awesome way to make a splash and build the awareness a bit more. Plus we had 10 employees there, all repping Sunsation, boots on the ground.
Oh my God, the street party, nice cars, nice boats, great people. Place was packed. I didn't think a small town like that could, you know, hold that many people.
This is my first time going up there, and I didn't really know what I was expecting, and it was pretty cool. You know, I was expecting to see some cats on tilt trailers on the sides of the street, but
Yeah, you know, I am surprised we didn't see nothing like that.
I thought the coolest part of it was we had 2 of our Sunsations there. Like, we had 2 32s in the street party. I think that was pretty cool.
Yeah, like I said, all the manufacturers were the only ones that had 2 boats in there.
Yeah. And you could go up on the boat, sit on the hard top, watch everything.
Yeah,
it was great.
That was probably my favorite part, just
Yeah.
being able to climb all the way up there and just getting like a bird's eye view of like the entire street party and all the mayhem going on.
While the street party's happening, you've got everything going on down at the marina and at the docks, where a lot of the people funnel through the street party. They go down to the marina. There's unofficial stereo wars. That's kind of where the party kicks off for the night after things wind down on the street. So I didn't get to go over there at all during the street party. I was solely at our demo then. But then when we pulled the boat out and we put it back in the water, we pulled it back around into the marina and tied it up to make sure it was ready for the run on Saturday. By that time, there was probably only 5 boats left rocking in the marina. 3 of them were Sunsations. That was probably 10:30.
What do you rate the street party?
I give it a 9.8.
Out of 10?
Well,
By 11:30, there was only 3 boats left. They were all the Sunsations, the 32, the 34, and the 40. And by 12:30, the 32 and the 34 kind of condensed and everybody went on to the 40, and that was the last boat rocking for the night.
Once the sun went down, we went out there and went on a couple different boats, like was a Troy's 40. That thing had the speakers cranking and the lights going. It was a big party there, and then a couple rows down, it was a demo and Nick's 34, a couple other guys, and just a big party, jamming out, people dancing, partying, having a good time. It was great.
They went pretty late. I was in bed before they even shut it down, so I don't know what that says about Sunsation, being that we shut down the marina at the Boyne Thunder Street Party, but I'll take it as a good sign. The day of the run is always interesting because everybody stayed up late the night before from the street party and being on the docks and everything. Everybody starts to wake up and you hear boats start rumbling in. and everyone starts filling the docks, whether it's owners and their crew or just spectators wanting to see the boats as they take off. It kind of gives you chills. Like, it's just something when the national anthem starts and everybody starts revving those engines, and those big boats like the Apaches and the Outer Limits are just roaring. You can't hear anything. You're excited to get going. You're trying to look at boats at the same time as make sure you guys are set and we're ready to go. So it's a little bit chaotic, but it is one of the best parts of the event by far, is when you hear all those boats start up. Showtime, man.
That's right.
Ready to rock? Ready to rock, Kyle?
Yeah, ready to rock.
Ready to get it, Jeremy?
Let's get it. I think it was showtime last night.
For Sunsation, we knew that our objective wasn't to do the run, because we want eyes on the boat, and that doesn't happen during the run. It happens on the parade lap going through Charlevoix. So we wanted to get up front and center. We ran right next to the Nortec, which was basically right next to the pace boat, another Nortec. And we ran right next to them the whole time, and we were pretty happy with the turnout as we rolled into Round Lake. There's a ton of boats rafted off and beached up right there in that little channel. And you go into Round Lake and you start to go under the bridge out to Lake Michigan in Charlevoix. And there's thousands of people just cheering you on. It's like you just won the Super Bowl and you're going down a parade for the Super Bowl victory, but you didn't do anything. You just showed up. You're just there. People are excited to see you. They're waving. Kids are waving to you. I don't know who these kids are. Like, I don't know why they're waving to me, but you got to wave back and enjoy that, right? And we had the Sensation flag flying just because we want everybody to know what our boat is and that it's built here in Michigan. I think it was really shitty of them to just crash the event. Just really bad look for Sensation. Bringing these boats out there, small boats, 24/7s. No, it was badass seeing the aggressors out there. We watched Brad and Johnny, and we even documented some of their builds throughout the winter a little bit here and there. They spent like the last 9 months restoring these boats, and they were already in pretty damn good condition last year before they tore them apart. So to see them bring them even more to life, add garments, add fusion heads, redo the interiors and some of the paint and stuff like that. The boats were looking good, and it's just not a boat that you really see at Boyne Thunder. There's not many of them. Like I said, I did not expect Brad and Johnny to actually jump in on the parade laps. I mean, I kind of thought they would. I knew if they were going to, that would be their best opportunity, because there's a speed limit of 55 during that parade lap, and those boats can run easily 70. So I think they told me they started with the class behind us, passed all those boats who were being paced by the pace boat, and then caught up to our group. And it was funny because we kind of thought they'd be out there, but we didn't see them. We didn't know where they were that morning, anything like that. And just out of the corner of my eye, I look over and I can kind of see a red aggressor bouncing around and skipping around, coming up on everybody really quick. And then I look to the right and I see a white and purple and black aggressor rolling up from the other side.
It was sweet. Like at first it was very rough, just with all the cross wakes and white water.
But white water and cross wakes, and I mean, we were trimmed up, tabs down, like everything we had to keep the control of these things.
To be running on a little 24-foot next to 50-foot cats and all that stuff, the white water, got a little shaky at the start. I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of holding on, but once got a feel for it, Johnny knows how to ride that thing hard. Felt pretty safe, a lot of fun. Can't wait to do it again.
Once we navigated through half of it and everyone started spacing out a little bit, we could find that right groove and make it through the line. And once I got halfway through, I branched off into calmer water and then caught right up to the front. Yep.
And you ended up running right next to the demo, which is badass. I was trying to get over there, but I just couldn't.
I wanted to get closer, but I didn't want to push my boundaries. I didn't know, I don't know. I didn't want to be out of place.
We were already breaking the rules.
Yeah, exactly.
I definitely give those guys credit for knowing their boats well enough, both mechanically and the performance of them, to be able to say they can go out there and run with the big boats. It was cool. It was pretty, in some ways, inspiring. I think they might start a trend, and you might see more rockets. A lot of the 24/7s, Baja, rockets, checkmates. You might see those boats start to join that event. It'll be interesting, though, in the future when we do get bad weather or we do get a lot of wind, if they decide to go out on the big lake. And if they do, good luck.
It's like idling through the, what do you call that cut? The Pine River, yeah. Idling through that was wild. I mean, I look forward, there's a big 40-foot center console. I look next to me and there's a 40-foot outer limits cat with like 1100s. I'm like, dude, we are so out of place here, but this is so badass.
There's waves taller than our boats, and we're trying to plane off in this, trying to get out of there.
Dude, that YouTube video of yours is sick. I mean, your boat just disappears in the swell, like right when you try to plane off.
It's like right when I get on plane, the bow goes way up, and I jump in the air and I land in a hole right away.
Oh my God!
Yeah, you almost tipped. You almost tipped. That was sick. What would you do that for? Jeez.
You could hear the crowd like yelling and screaming from outside the boat, and I was like, oh man, I'm definitely gonna see a video of this. And sure as shit, when I went home, I looked it up and found the video, and it didn't look as bad as it looked when I was driving.
It looks pretty bad.
Yeah.
I remember turning around, looking over at Brad, and like he completely disappeared, going down into someone's wake.
We were still in all the whitewater from the run, and then like the farther we were getting out, like the more like big rollers we were starting to get, so it was getting a little rough for the 24s. But
and all of a sudden, it would be nice and smooth, and this big wave would just come and take you, and it'd feel like a freighter wake, like you'd just start jumping.
yeah,
I didn't actually expect them to go through the channel with all the boats, being that there's a lot of boats there and they're really big. And then especially doing the first leg of the run with everybody. You know, they went right out into Lake Michigan, and you know, right after I saw a 50-foot outer limits go by, I saw two 24/7 aggressors ripping through.
How is it out here?
Excellent.
You guys living?
Very nice.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We dominated it. We ran it. 6 over there.
After lunch, we didn't actually go and do the second half of the run. We went straight to Horton Bay. And the idea was just position ourselves somewhere near the card stop so that when boats were kind of pulling through, they'd see Sensation, they'd see our flags, our banners, everything like that.
We went and tied up with everyone else in Horton Bay.
Yeah,
that was great.
that part was badass, man.
We tied up with me and him and a couple guys from the shop, and the demo boat was there. It was cool, just hanging out in a different lake.
Yeah, it was weird, like not being in Muskemouth. There's mucky bottoms and what Horton Bay you couldn't even touch.
Yeah, no, it was like 40 feet in Horton
First
Bay.
time I ever swam off the back of this boat and I couldn't touch the bottom.
Yeah, true, honestly, yeah. I didn't think about that. Huh? It's beautiful. It's cold at first, but when you're in, it's awesome.
It quickly escalated into Nick Wolgass pulling up on his 34 right out, and he didn't even go to the last card stop, just came straight to us, tied up with us. 3 boats followed him. Before we knew it, there was an F4 there. There was an eliminator. There was the two aggressors showed up. So turned into a nice little fun raft off of just the boats that were kind of part of the event. Definitely gave us the chance to, you know, fly our flag and wave it high and build a little awareness about Sensation while we're there. And because that's really the end of the event, after the run's done, you know, you're kind of winding down. It was a great way to just kick back, splash around in the water, talk to our customers from the F4 and on the 34, hang out with their crews and just enjoy the day.
It was cool just to be in that environment. It was awesome.
Yeah, they're playing with the big dogs.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and I've never been in really any poker run or anything like that, so it was all kind of new to me. But it was a really cool experience.
Yeah, it's a good little training exercise for the sun run.
Absolutely.
That's going to be some white water, buddy. Last year for the sun run, I was real nervous about like taking off in the back of the pack and just getting swallowed up by all the wakes. But after this Boyne experience,
There's no worry,
I don't
no.
care where I take off. I'll just come around everybody.
I'm intentionally gonna start off in the middle just so I could jump some stuff and just bust through the crowd. Like,
Yeah, like Marla got a badass video of the start last year, but like you turn around and all you see is just everybody's bows. Like I want to get a better video this year where like you're in the middle of it, so it's like a 360 view of just anarchy going on around you.
I'm trying to get a good one from the helicopter of like my prop.
Yeah, I want to get some helicopter stuff with the prop out of the water.
Everyone's been asking like updates on the run and everything, and what they don't realize is planning an event for 150 boats is not the easiest task, especially on Lake St. Clair. So we're going to adjust the run a little bit, the last stops, add some other stops to the run, kind of spread some of the boats out, which is kind of the point of this run. We want everyone to come and explore our home waters and support the local businesses and just really fill the lake with sensations for the entire weekend. So it's not a bad thing we have a ton of boats. It just creates a little chaos, and we want to make sure for safety purposes everybody's in a good spot. Yeah, and that's kind of the cool part about this is like this is a very laid back event. It's more of just a weekend of boating with the community, Sunsation Nation. It's not necessarily an intense poker run. It's definitely not a race. Never was a race.
If they blink, it's a race.
Scrapyard Media will be in attendance, producing the video coverage for the event.
The Scrapyard Media?
The one and only, I hear Katie DiMaggio might make an appearance. Bobby Boyd might make an appearance. The street party planning, it really hasn't changed much. I mean, we're definitely going to fill the streets 100%. I don't think there's any way that we don't fill them completely, all the real estate we have.
Because they can't get their boat in.
Yeah, I think it might be a little chaos in the beginning because I can tell you someone's going to pull up and they're going to say, I want this spot. And it's going to say, we're going to tell them, get into the spot we have for you.
I may be able to help with that.
Yeah. Are you on parking duty?
Yeah.
You are? Oh, yeah, you're going to have to keep them in line.
Get in line.
Oh, got a lot of work to do in the next 2 weeks. It's going to be a little chaotic. No, I think we're good. Let's dock this boat.